In this video, I'll show you how to make selections in Affinity. Let's get started. If you'd like to follow along with me, I've left a download link to the photo that I'll be using in the video description. So, using the Object Selection tool, it's very easy to make selections in Affinity. Go ahead and click on the tool to select it. And if this is your first time selecting the tool, you'll see this pop-up appear telling you to install the segmentation model. So go ahead and click on Settings. And then where it says Segmentation, click Install. When you install segmentation, you're enabling Affinity's AI, which is pre-trained. It doesn't collect any of your data, and you don't even need an internet connection to use it, so this is a really great feature. With this installed, I'll close out of this window, and then I'll click on the Object Selection tool again, and now we can use it. To use this tool, you can hover over your photo to highlight different areas. You can see as I hover over the model, she's highlighted. But if you want to select even smaller areas like her hat, you can do this by holding Alt or Option to isolate different parts. For this example, I'll release Alt or Option so that I can highlight the entire model, and then I'll click to make a selection. So just like that, we have our selection made. As a next step, I like to refine the selection up here in the context toolbar. Now we can zoom in and paint over the edges of the hair to tell Affinity to take a second look at these areas. Hair is very difficult to select, so I like to do this to just help Affinity out. And now that that's done, I'm just going to press Apply. And with our selection made, now we can remove the background by clicking on the mask icon. I'll deselect with Command or Control D. With the background removed, it's easier to see the edges of the selection. And while the Object Selection tool does a pretty good job, sometimes it can miss areas or add too much of the background. So I want to show you how you can clean this up. First, make sure your mask layer is selected, and then select the paintbrush. Using the paintbrush, we can paint in black paint to remove from our selection, or we could switch to white paint to add to our selection. Just make sure your white paint is set to 100% white. And now with those paint colors set up, we can easily switch between the two colors by pressing X on the keyboard. One other thing I like to do with my paintbrush is I like to make it a softer brush. If I paint right now, the edges of the paintbrush will be very harsh. So I like to completely lower this hardness by clicking and dragging on it. And we can also lower the flow to make it even softer. So I'll just lower this. And now you can see as I paint, it will be nice and soft. So to begin, I'll press X to get out black paint. And then I'll use the bracket keys on my keyboard to make my brush smaller so that I can remove some of this smudginess. I'll press X to switch to white paint. And I'll connect this hair with a very small brush to bring it back. The Object Selection tool sometimes struggles with the very edges of a photo. So it's a good idea to make sure that this is completely included by painting in white paint. And I think that looks pretty good. It looks like it got this edge pretty well. To clean up some of this smudginess, I'll switch to black paint, and I'll clean that up. And I'll just continue this all the way around our model. Because we set the paint to a low flow, that means we're gradually adding layers of paint instead of adding 100% of the paint. So we can slowly blend areas, and I think this looks much more realistic. With that painting done, we now have a beautiful selection of our subject. To finish this video, I want to show you one more way that you can make selections in Affinity, and that's by using the Canva AI. To do this, I'll start over by deleting this mask, and then we can go to the top of the screen to click on Canva AI. Then I'll go over here to click on the Select Subject button. Canva AI is different from the object selection tool. To use Canva AI, you need a Canva subscription. You also need an internet connection to use it. So there are a couple of downsides, but I thought it would still be nice to show you how to use it. So now we have a selection loaded, so we can go back to the Pixel Studio. Now, when I used the object selection tool, my next step was refining the hair. But when using Canva AI, I don't think that step is necessary because it does a pretty good job with hair. So let's skip that step and add the mask. I'll deselect with Command or Control D. Just like with the object selection tool, you can see that the AI did a pretty good job making this selection, but sometimes it will still miss areas. So just like before, let's clean up the mask layer using the paintbrush. Once again, we can use white paint to add to the selection, and black paint to remove. And you can use X to switch these colors at any time. With that, we have another beautiful selection, and now you know 2 different ways to make selections in Affinity. If you enjoyed this video, I'll leave a link in the video description to my free Affinity course. In the course, you'll learn 10 simple steps to make any photo amazing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Affinity Revolution tutorial.